हरि ओम। नमस्ते जी। नमस्ते।
हरि ओम
हरि
गुरु
ओम।
जी।
हरि ओम। जल्पा जी, get well soon. Yes.
नमस्ते।
Namaste. Namaste.
नमस्ते।
We will begin. Yes, excited for the next sutras?
Yes.
We should wait for Puruji. We don't know. Perhaps he will join. But we will look at the Sanskrit translation, the commentary, and then we will progress. Yes? Bring your palms together at the heart center. When you feel steady and comfortable, gently close your eyes. We will chant the Mangalacharan together. यस्त्यक्त्वा रूपमाद्यं प्रभवति जगतो अनेकदानुग्रहाय प्रक्षीणक्लेशराशिर्विषमविषधरो अनेकवक्त्रसुभोगी सर्वज्ञानप्रसूतिर्भुजगपरिकर प्रीतये यस्य नित्यम् देवो हि शः सव्यात् सितविमलतनुर्योगतो योगयुक्तः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति. Gently bow your head down. Bring yourself to class. Prepare yourself for the session. When you're ready, gently lift your head up. Open your eyes. Look down first towards the floor. Externalize. Namaste ji. We will be chanting the sutras from the beginning and then we'll pause at 3. Om Paramatmane Namaha. Patanjali Yoga Darshanam. Samadhipadaha. अथ योगानुशासनम् योगश्चित्तवृत्तिनिरोधः
योगश्चित्तिवृत्तिनिरोधः
तदा द्रष्टुः स्वरूपे अवस्थानम् स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्.
स्वरूपे अवस्थानम्.
So we were looking at tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam, but we will also look at its Sanskritam commentary today. Is the screen visible to us? Please confirm.
Yes.
So this sutra says, tada vasthe chetasi vishayabhavad buddhi bodhatma purushah kim swabhavaha. So the sutra begins with what happens once the vrittis have been removed. In Sutra 2, we talked about Chitta Vritti Nirodha and we discussed what? The vrittis. And then in Sutra 3, Before the sutra begins, there is a commentary, Bhashyam. Tada avasthe, tada means that, avastha, in the state, chetasi, vishayabhavada, buddhi bodhatma purushah, kim swabhava iti? The answer is, tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthan. So, the answer to what happens after chitta vritti nirodha is tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam, sutra 3. स्वरूप प्रतिष्ठा तदानीं चित्त शक्तिर्यथा कैवल्ये व्युत्थान चित्ते तु सति तथापि भवन्ति न तथा. What does this sutra say then? It says that the chitta which was vyutthana, a chitta which has vrittis is known as what? Vyutthana chitta, vyuthana, vyutthana chitta. Such vyutthana chitta becomes what? Swarupa sthita. Vyutthana chitta becomes Swarupa sthita. So the chitta we talked about is manas, ahamkara and buddhi. In Hindi we would say man. Take it as man in total. You can take chitta as man in Hindi. So in this sutra, in Nirodha Avastha, out of the states we had also seen, do you recall? In the last session we talked about different states and levels of seekers. Yes, so we talked about Shipta, Mudha, Vikshipta, Ekagra and Nirudha. So Nirudha Avastha is Laya Avastha. Nirudha Avastha is what? Laya Avastha, and Kaivalya is Pralaya Avastha. Laya means vanishing. So Nirudha Avastha is still a Laya Avastha. Means what? Laya Avastha. Whatever thoughts that come to us, what is their nature? Vrittis, vanishing. It's absolutely vanishing at all times. Yesterday's vrittis are not the same as today. For whatever years we have been living, the vrittis have not been same. So, laya vritti. In which state? Nirudhavastha. Yes. So, this knowledge is there of what? Purusha and Prakriti. This knowledge is there. There is some separation between the two. Yes, I am not what I perceive myself to be. But what happens then in Kaivalya? Because the goal of yoga is Kaivalya or liberation. So, not only exhaustion of vrittis for that one state of mind which is a nirudha of the chitta. मन की निरुद्ध अवस्था, in Hindi we would say, मन की निरुद्ध अवस्था जो है उसमें क्षय हो जाता है वृत्ति का. The vrittis die in that state of niruddha. You are in the state of samadhi. What happens? There are no vrittis. But what happens when you come back to the world? Vrittis again come back. Once you are out of the state of samadhi, they come again. So then what is the difference between niruddha and kaivalya? In the state of kaivalya or liberation, there is pralaya, which means there is absolute dissolution, dissolved. All the vrittis become dissolved. The mind do not allow the vrittis to enter. Yes, so niruddha avastha, laya, and kaivalya avastha, pralaya. So from laya we have to move towards the pralaya. Pralaya, or the end of what? Is the earth? No. It's the creation? No. It's the vrittis. So like there is creation and destruction constantly happening, we are looking at pralaya, where it subsides, it dissolves, everything merges with everything, it dissolves. And this is what the sutra Tada Drashtuhu Swarupe Avasthanam says, that after these vrittis are removed, Tada, then Drashtuhu, the seer, Swarupe Avasthanam. Yes, Swarupa is Ekameva darshana. Swarupa, which means the seer and the seen becomes one. What happens? Tadadrashtu swarupe. The seer and the seen becomes one. The one who is observing, the one who is seeing. And what is being seen? The experience is no more separate. There is pure awareness. Right? Now, what would happen? We will see in the next sutra. In case this does not happen, in case there is no dissolution or pralaya, there is laya. But what happens if there is no pralaya? The next sutra, chant after me. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Vritti sarupyam. Other than that, itaratra, other vrittis start. So if there is no vritti of the swarup, of the self, then there are many, many vrittis. And how are these vrittis? Let's see. We discussed that chitta, which is filled with vrittis, is known as what? Vyuthana chitta. Vyuthana. Vyuthana chitta. So, if there is no tadarashtu swarupe avasthanam, vritti sarupyam itaratra. Anyway, the chitta is going to hold vrittis. And how are these layatmak? They are again and again vanish. So it becomes very difficult for the mind to understand what's happening. Everything is so destructive. When we start studying yoga, what we realize first? Everything is so easily destructive. Yesterday I was in intense anger. Today that state of intense anger is gone. Even that is destructive. That moment where I felt that anger in every nail and hair, today it's not there. And yesterday I felt so much of love from within, so much of compassion from within. Where it is gone to? So if something that is repeatedly happening in my mind is so easily destructible, while in that moment it seems so real, how can anything else outside be permanent? Everything outside is also very, very destructive. So, vritti sarupyam itaratra. If there is no vritti of the swarup, itaratra, otherwise vrittis are there. And how are these? Destructive. And how do they live? In confusion. They leave us in confusion. We feel, okay, anger is real. Tomorrow it's not there. We feel, okay, compassion is real. It's not there. We feel hurt. Oh, this is how I'm feeling. But tomorrow you say, this is not how I'm feeling. In fact, there is no trace at all of what I was feeling yesterday. I still look the same. I'm still eating healthy. There is no trace at all of what happened. So how is this layatmak? It's again and again vanishing. So further, we see in the original commentary by Vyasa. Katham tahim darshita vishayatvat vritti sarupya itaratra vyuthane याश्चित्त वृत्तयास अस्तद विशिष्ट वृत्तिः पुरुषः तथा च सूत्रम एकमेव दर्शनम ख्यातिरेव दर्शनम इति. So there was one very important sage yogi. Yes, you must have heard of Sankhya Darshan, Sankhya philosophy written by Kapila Muni, Kapila's Shishya by the name of Panchashikhacharya. These are the 5 greatest sages who not only studied their own philosophy but have written commentaries on other philosophies. So one of the name is Panchashikhacharya. Panchashikhacharya says, Ekameva darshanam Khyatireva darshanam iti. Ekameva darshanam means Purusha. And Khyatireva darshanam means vritti. Ekameva. The only darshana is see. Either you see yourself or you see what you are not all the time. So you have a choice. Either you go for something which is destructible all the time. So if you say, I am a very good person, that's also destructive. Somebody will not agree to it. So there is no equanimity of thought by everyone about how you feel. So either there is one ekameva darshanam, purusheva darshanam, that I see the self, or then I see myself through different destructible objects. That's a big headache. Different vrittis, all the time being destructive. You must have realized somebody says good about you. Next month they say absolutely bad. So how will you understand yourself? Otherwise, there is so much of mental gym happening all the time. So the Shikacharya says that Ekameva Darshana, Purusha Darshana. If you are a yogi, there is only one thing you should see, and that is Swarupa, beyond the mind, beyond the mana that you see, or beyond the chitta. You have to go travel beyond the mana or chitta to see yourself. And to travel beyond the chitta, you must see first what chitta is. And to see what chitta is, you must see first what your tendencies are. Yes. So if there are, small grains of sugar, you have to follow those grains of sugar with the ant to see where they are getting stored in that. So how to understand that there is Purusha? First you understand there is Chitta. How to understand there is Chitta? First we understand that there is Vritti. How do we understand that there is Vritti? By separating ourselves from the destructible. Understanding the thought that I'm having right now is momentary. Being an observer to every state of mind. So it's all connected, one after the other we see. Further, he says, Chittamaya, Askantamani Kalpam. What is Askantamani? Magnet. So he says, Chittamaya, Askantamani Kalpam, Sannidhi Matropkari, Drushatvena, Swambhavati Purushasya, Swaminaha. Further, he says, Panchashikacharya in the commentary, Askantamani Kalpam. So he says here that this Chitta is very close to Purusha. So what happens? It acts in a magnetic way. It's in complete closeness to Purusha or consciousness. So when this mind field is close to the consciousness, because upon death the mind field dies, the consciousness stays. Since it is very close to the consciousness, we always feel the mind is active. In reality, there is no activity as such of the mind. It is the light of the Purusha that makes us feel that there is subtleness. It's important to understand that the study of yoga, Ayurveda, healing, whatever healing that takes place in India, every body or sharira was taken to be subtle body. Nobody has written anything about your gross body. The target of everything has been what? The subtle body or subtle aspect. Any scripture, any text you take in India, there is no mention of a human as the gross body. It's always the subtle body which has been done. So when we have studied the Panchakoshas in 200 hours together, we have seen what is subtle body or astral body, which are those koshas. So working on those koshas has been directed directly to the point that you start working on subtle body. So similarly, what we see in the philosophy of yoga also, the subtle body is talked about again and again. And how do we know this? By saying that the mind, you feel that it is. You feel that the brain stores everything, for example. The brain does not have its own capacity to store anything. Yes. So whatever is dominant, the underlying desires, when they come in contact with the Purusha, whatever is lying in the Chitta, when it comes in contact with the consciousness, all of it surfaces up as vrittis. So my vrittis don't come from external objects. My vrittis are within me. And that is what I have to exhaust in this life. My vrittis are within me. It's simply the object that brings up that certain vritti. So I understand, okay, this is the vritti that I. How to understand this better? All life we have been living with desires by wishing, praying something. Try living for a year without any desire. Only 1 year. Without any expectation, only for 1 year. Without association, without emotion, without attachment with anything. Just try living for 1 year. You will see the changes that takes within you. So from desires, just try dropping the desires that you have. You'll already start exhausting the practice. So when this magnet has been said, it says that the energy, the consciousness creates this magnetic field. And what is the result of this magnetic field? Again and again, you are remembered of the past practice, past samskaras. Samskaras which you have from the last birth also carried with you presently. Whatever you are dealing with right now, whatever is happening with us, our lifetime is too limited for so many things to happen at one time. The cause of this is already being created by us. This birth is used to exhaust it. Every birth is there for what? Finish the desire. We saw the difference between Bhoga. Yes? Bhogavan and Bhagavan. Who is Bhagavan? The one who is above desires. Who is Bhogavan? The one who is filled with desires. So live like a Bhagavan for it. And then you will realize that in reality, there is nothing in my mind. The moment I drop my desires, I feel so light from within. There are no thoughts that arise at all. But the moment I have attachment or I have any kind of desires, then rest of the strings. So, vritti sarupyam itaratra. If the purusha vritti is not there, yes, then what happens? This goes on and on. And one vritti, we will see further, klishta, klishta. What is klishta, klishta? Afflicted, non-afflicted. There are vrittis which give birth to many, many vrittis. And they keep on continuing. And that is the cause of birth. Otherwise, you are perfectly capable of being in pralaya. So laya, we discussed, is dissolution. Pralaya, before dissolution. Equanimity. Or oneness. Or nothingness is experienced. And how is all this experienced? Just by becoming Bhagavan instead of becoming Bhagavan. Instead of having choices in everything. Just acceptance of everything that comes just for a year. Many times yoga teachers, asana teachers also come. They say, Madam, it's been 30 years I'm practicing asanas. I don't have a single disease in the body. I'm at the best of the health. But I'm still searching for that higher experience in yoga. Can philosophy help me? And how will it help me with this? So then he said, I'm thinking of giving up the asanas. Anyway, my body is fit now. Even if I don't practice asanas, I've practiced so much that there is genetic change in me. At the cellular level, there has been a permanent change. I need not practice asanas. I said, no. You have to continue practicing your asanas, but with understanding of the Yoga Sutras. So when you're actually in the asanas, yoga is a practical text. You're already practicing all of this. When you are in sadhana, yoga is not, in English you have a word practice, but how do you call it in Sanskrit? Yoga sadhana. It's an instrument. So I had to take time to make him realize that it's yoga sadhana, yoga as the instrument, yoga not as the end, but as an instrument towards the end, which is something. So, and it's incomplete if you only do asanas. There are so many other links to it. So, this understanding helps us in removing itaratra. Otherwise, the tendencies of the further says this. तस्मात् चित्तवृत्ति बोधे पुरुषस्य नादिः संबंधो हेतुः. Now, Purva Paksha, Buddhism asks that how do you know that there are vrittis in the chitta? And how can you say that they are stored, the vrittis in the chitta? And if there is not Purusha vritti, there is Khyati Darshana. Khyati Darshana is otherwise than Purusha. Or Vyutthana Chitta, Avastha of Vyutthana Chitta. So yoga philosophy says, like the nature of water is what? Cooling. But there is fire present also in the water. How is it present? When the water boils, there is no actual fire in it, but you are burnt by it. The effect is same as the fire, even in the water. How it explains this oneness? It says, fire is present even in the water. Otherwise, you start boiling the water, it wouldn't have any effect at all. So in Sukshma Rupa, like the seeds of fire are in the water and you cannot see it. Only when a vritti or only when there is an external stimulation that is applied to it, it surfaces up and it changes. There is a fluctuation that takes place. This is vritti sarupa. And which means our natural tendency is to see ourselves. Our natural tendency is what? What happens to a child, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, goes and catches the butterfly, identifies with the butterfly, identifies with the tree, identifies with everything around. That's the natural vritti. There is no individualistic thought. So our own nature is the Purusha vritti. And we are in a Bhranti, which means what? Mistakenly, like I mentioned in the last class, the mirror has been slightly tilted. There is a confusion. Why confusion? Because external objects. Nobody told us at birth that there is something called as vrittis inside you. When you go out to college, all these vrittis will come up. When you're caught by the police, another vrittis come up. So nobody told us. So it's very difficult for us to figure it out. But in the Vedic age, all of this was already told, that you are in the world to identify what vrittis you have, exhaust them and go ahead. Nobody told us this. So our nature, this thought from a very young age, that I am the seer, not of the world, of myself, with the help of the world, is natural to us. And since there is no pramana, what is pramana? And what are those proofs? Which category they fall under? Vrittis, pramana viparyaya, vikalpa nidra and smriti. So since this pramana vritti is not there, correct knowledge is not there, there is Bhranti Darshan. So when I'm studying yoga, what am I doing? Am I studying this new? No, I'm simply reminding myself of my own tendency. Yoga philosophy or Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is not sharing anything new with me. It's simply reminding me. Therefore, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is a text that reminds, not a text which teaches. It's a text that reminds. Of the Purusha Vritti or Ekameva Darshana. From this sutra, the main takeaway we've understood, there are either the chitta is vritti nirodha, so either there is nirodha avastha or there is vyuthana avastha. What is opposite of nirodha? Vyuthana. Yogas chitta vritti nirodha, the second sutra. What is the opposite of that? Vyuthana chitta. Vyuthana means filled with a different, swelling up with vrittis, different. So, sutra 2, we studied what is Nirodha. Sutra 3 and 4 talked about what is Vyuthana. Otherwise, what it is. In the original text, there is a big commentary written on who Panchashikacharya was, but it's not important. Yes. We will move on to the next. See, in the translation for Dr. Sita Nambiar, we see Tadadrashtu Swarupe Avasthana is that then the seer remains in his own nature. Vyasa explains the word seer, the drishta, as the chitta shakti or the spiritual self, the subtle self. When the mind field is in that state, there being no objects, the seer rests in his own nature. The state of isolation is kaivalya. So in this, the sutra has been, it's very lightly said, but then when we see the commentary, it's in. Further, we see Vritti Sarupya Mitaratra. I'm just reading it again. In states other than this, which is Niruddha Avastha or Asampragyat Samadhi, the seer appears identified with the vrittis, the thought waves. When the seer is not in Samadhi, he is known as Vyuthana Chitta. He whose Chitta is involved in the external world and is no more in Samadhi. Even though in reality, the seer is immutable and pure, he appears to be mutable and impure. Then there is an example of crystal and the red flower. We will progress on to Sutra 1.5. Prepare yourself for the next sutra. And before that, make a note of one more thing important. There is difference between chit and chitta. Chit Shakti and chitta. Chitta Shakti is the one. Understand the Purusha as the sun. Chitta Shakti is that rays of the sun, which helps us understand when it is in a Vyuthana or it is in Swarup. Chit Shakti or Chitta, alag alag. Chit Shakti is our spiritual self. Chitta is related with Prakriti or the prospect. So, Chitta Vritti Nirodha is happening because of Chit Shakti. Who is observing that there are these Vrittis? Chit Shakti. Purusha, consciousness. We saw it's the magnetic field. It's since the Prakriti and Purusha are in very close contact with each other, it feels like the Prakriti is changing by itself. There is movement in the Prakriti, but in reality, there is the light of the Purusha. There are only Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, three gunas in Prakriti which are in equilibrium. The moment it comes in contact with Purusha, what happens? It starts fluctuating, changing. You might take some time to connect to it. So I ensure that you listen to the session whenever you find time. We progress. वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्ट क्लिष्ट
यः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्ट क्लिष्ट
वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्ट अक्लिष्ट
वृत्तयः पञ्चतयः क्लिष्ट क्लिष्टः.
It says vrittis are fivefold, afflicted and non-afflicted. Even though the vrittis which are to be controlled are many in number, they have been brought under five heads. So otherwise, there are so many vrittis within us. They are endless. Just like five elements, you make so many other things out of it. They mix with each other, something else is formed. But this bundle, massive bundle of vrittis can still be categorized under five heads, and we've discussed them. Yes, these vrittis, we'll just go through them again. These five are also of two kinds. The same may be both afflicted and not afflicted. So these five are further into afflicted and non-afflicted. Let's see what is afflicted, non-afflicted. The afflicted are those which create bad samskaras or impressions. They in turn themselves become the cause of further afflicted vrittis. And the unafflicted ones, through discrimination, help one free himself from the domain of karmas or karmas. Ultimately, we have to overcome even those thought waves which are good, pure, and truthful. The unafflicted ones, as even these create disturbances in the mind. To control the vrittis, one should know them. We've discussed this, but we are just reminding ourselves so that we can take the Samskrita translation. So, vrittis, how are they? Afflicted and non-afflicted. And what happens with the afflicted ones? They create a further vrittis. Unafflicted, which is the vritti? Knowledge. Which knowledge? Knowledge of the self. All these years, why are we studying philosophy today? Because it makes so much sense. And all this while, whatever was making sense to us, we studied it. But it did not stay with us. But what we listened to from the Guru Mukha in Shravana, listening from the teacher in the philosophy class, that stays with us for a longer time, even when we are doing other things. But I've studied geography, mathematics, algebra. I may remember some of it. But neither that knowledge is solving any spiritual problem within me, nor my life problems. So it's material knowledge. It can only bless me with material prosperity. But how is this knowledge? It is based on a vritti, and a strong vritti which removes other, a vritti which is required for removal of suffering. Therefore, it is said, to end suffering, knowledge must be there. Only knowledge can end the suffering. Not gold, not silver, not money, not people, not food. The mind, which is not easily, able to be molded by like a small child. When you want something from the small child, you try to give this child so many other things. You take a chocolate, you take a toffee, you take this from me, you take a doll. But the child is very reluctant. Similarly, the mind sees all of these as what? Low-hanging fruits. Lesser quality, okay, enjoys them, leaves. But when you talk about knowledge, what happens? The mind feels closer. You yourself feel good from within. Because there is a memory. Again, you're being reminded of something. So the mind which is searching this remembrance in other things has not held on to them. You forcefully try to memorize it, repeat it. It may stay with you, but it will have no effect on you. Since it's not the true nature of mind. It can help you to earn, but after 60, 70 years, even that will be lost. But this knowledge, how is this? This is a reminder. You already know it. Therefore, it connects with you quickly. And since the mind is searching for this reminder, that is what it was looking for, nothing else stays. But this, what you hear and what you experience, it keeps knocking you from within that I want to know more. You take your studies and see if you feel this from within. I want to know more. I want to know more. I want to experience this. You'll observe that this knowledge brings up that vritti, and this is known as pramana vritti. In pramana, we saw three kinds. Which were the three? Pratyaksha pramana or direct experience, Anumana pramana or inference, and Shabda pramana or verbal testimony. Different philosophies have many other pramanas also. These are not the only three, but yoga philosophy takes only these three as the principal. So when there is pramana or knowledge in the form of direct experience, inference, and verbal testimony, no other vritti stands. It easily starts replacing all the other. And such a vritti is known as the non-afflicted, which does not give rise to a question, जो शंका को नहीं बढ़ाता है पर शंका का समाधान करता है. In the local language we say it does not create a doubt, but it satiates, solves whatever you're thinking. It satiates the question or a curiosity or a doubt. And human mind is looking for this answers. Whatever is happening, until you find that reality which is here, it will keep on searching. And therefore, it will not feel happy anywhere else because that's not its natural tendency. We will wait here for today. If you have any questions, you can ask. Yes, Ji. I hope you are able to connect and relate with what we are studying. If you have any questions, please ask.
Agishri, I have a question.
Yes, I was waiting. Yes, good. Tell me. Because others can also know from this question. Yes.
So we have these vrittis within us. They are also at play. And then there are also the tendencies that are of people around us. So how do we deal with those then? Those that again start bringing up these tendencies within ourselves, and then it keeps rising from there and it goes on.
And nothing from the outside can come. If you're borrowing somebody's vritti, which means that vritti is already present in you.
Inside.
If the water is giving the effect same as the fire, which means the fire is present in the water in a very subtle form and it appears to be exactly opposite. But water, even while being water, gives the same burn that the heat, the fire would direct. So this is what we have to identify. That somebody is worried, it naturally happens. Family member is worried, we have a phone call and we end up being in the same state.
Yeah.
So it is there in a very subtle form. We don't have to panic. It's there. Yes, mind cannot be free of vrittis. We just have to replace it with the correct. Identifying it, acknowledging it is the first step to progress it. There is nothing bad in it. Just replace it with study. Plug in. If you feel something from the exterior is come, पहले के जमाने में लोग कहते थे ना, कुछ हो गया, भूत आ गया, ये आ गया, वो आ गया. There's some ghost, there is something on this person. It's nothing. You just replace it with pramana.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any other question?
Ma'am, I have a question. Before you said that there is a difference between Chit Shakti and Chitta Shakti, but then I got lost during the explanation. If you can repeat this difference.
Chit Shakti and Chitta. There are two tas in between. In Chitta, what do we see? Two tas. One of the ta comes from takarante in Sanskrit is ignorance. Chit would have one ta. Ta is a, how do I help you? With a Sanskritam, it's, you can say, one of the Vyanjana. Ta. So I will, after the class, I will write both these words. Okay. So Chit, Shakti, Chit without any additional ta, which means not having ignorance in it. And second, Chitta. Chitta is gross. Chit is subtle. So where are the vrittis in Chitta? And how are they identified? With Chit Shakti. I will explain this 1-2 more times as we progress. So listening, you will get there. If you don't understand in one go, it's fine.
Now I don't know if I will be able to remind this, but I understood it at least. Thank you.
Any questions offline? 4 people. Yes.
Ask me like 1 year when just let it be where you are, but to have anything, to have any purpose to complete, like some becomes something. City life, you have some money and family and nothing. So how come push yourself more from inside to, are you doing right or wrong is a different question somewhere. What will keep you, how will you know that you are actually
Okay. So if whatever you're doing in the world is for fulfillment of your dharma, keep continuing. As long as you live, you're going to do something or the other. So allow the destiny to work its course, but at the mind level, what are you going to do? Contemplate. Why do we always say, God, please? The God is very gracious, is very kind. Yes, He always forgives. So 1 year, we want to inculcate these qualities. Very gracious, very compassionate, very kind, very loving, very forgiving, gives in bounty, gives to one who is unknown, gives to the one who is known. So when I say Bhagavan se Bhagavan, which means what? Imbibing these qualities. Why you want to see them outside? They are in you. Live like this for 1 year. Continue other course of life, whatever you're doing. But all that you are, think God is in every sense. Yes, no matter how many mistakes done, always forgives. Let people around you make mistakes. You forgive them and then tell me if they don't see the God in you. Because you become embodiment of what they're asking for in their prayers. Yes. It's coming. No, it's enough. It's fine. Your family, all of us.
That come and say they are banished also believes that method. But they are still coming when you go back. They will only be in the state of samadhi.
Nirudhavas.
Meditation or whatever. Get out. They will again come. But in Cavalier, they complete dissolve. But Cavalier is also the state where you're no more in your human state. Right? Or can you be in your human state?
You're in your spiritual self.
So your body is gone.
No, who said body is gone? Buddha lived for 30 years after
But
attaining
when
Cavalier.
he achieved Cavalier, that time he left his body.
Left the attachment with the body. We people see left the body as left the physical body. The intention is left the attachment with the body.
Still in your body.
Yes, very much. You function in the world.
How is it possible to be in the world and not have any?
No, you're going to have vrittis. Again, you're missing the point. Vrittis are always going to be there. The chit shakti that you have, the awareness that I have to keep changing the vrittis. These are my vasanas, bundle of vasanas or desires, which I'm exhausting. Moment I'm aware, I'm replacing them. I'm exhausting them one by one. And when we talk about the Niruddha Avastha of the mind, the Niruddha is best suited for Kaivalya. Therefore, you have to come from Shipta to Niruddha. You cannot go from Mudha to Kaivalya. It's not possible.
Constant state of meditation or what? When you are in the world also, and you still be in
The state I already mentioned to you. You walk through a bazaar, you see it glittering, and you say, I want nothing from this bazaar. Let it glitter. Oh, very nice, very good. Every day, everything keeps shining. But none of that is of use to you. It's a very, very beautiful example in Guru Gobind Singh Ji. Yes, what happened? I've heard in one of the satsangs. I also go for, it's not only just yoga philosophy. In Rishikesh, you will find me on Sundays, near Triveni Ghat in satsangs, all of Guru Nanak Ji and Guru Gobind Singh. So, in Guru Gobind Singh Ji's one of the verses, he talks about the life of Guru Nanak. He says, at a very young age, he had the same feeling that I want to pursue my spiritual path. And also there is poverty in the house. What should I do in this time? Should I fulfill my dharma or should I go towards, my personal pursuit, this longing? So at a very young age, in his teenage, he had this realization that all of this is not true. And how should I take care of this? So he was so heavy with this thought in the poverty that he was not able to work. There were limited resources to feed the family. He stopped eating. So many Vaidyas came, many doctors came to check him. What happened? He's absolutely fine. Still, he's sick, unable to get up from the bed. Parents worried, everybody is worried. Everybody is wondering, why did he stop eating? Aise kya hua? What happened? That he dropped food altogether. So one day a very old Vedji came, a very old doctor. And he checks his Nadi Pariksha like you did in your anatomy class. Yes, checks his Nadi. And says, Sand ki tarah ho means what? You're as strong as an ox. Nothing has happened to you. Tell me the truth. What is gripping your mind? Why are you in bed in youth and your parents worrying everybody? भूख नहीं लगती क्या? Are you not hungry? सांड की तरह, don't you feel hungry? He says, मेरे अंदर दो भूख है. Within me, there are two hungers, I see. One, even which I eat, I feel it satiated, but it is never satiated. I again feel like it. And the other hunger is the spiritual hunger. I don't know what to do without, about this hunger. So I have dropped the both. The one which is never satiated and the one I don't know what to do about. Because even if I take care of the hunger, which I feel is satiated, I'm going to again and again consume. So he says, I'm not hungry for food. It's not just one hunger. There is this hunger also. What do I do with this? So the doctor, the old man, the very senior, sits with him and talks to him. He says, whatever you're doing right now, just do that. You are holding good thoughts. There is no anger in you. You're practicing forgiveness. You're not hoarding. All of this is your tapa. All of this is what? Your tapas or tapa. In whatever you're doing in life, you don't need to do anything else. What you're doing, that itself, see it as tapa. How? By being extremely kind, forgiving. Because it's difficult to forgive. You feel that burning sensation even when you don't want. So it's tapa. So says, when you are doing this, it itself is tapa. Why do you want to go somewhere else? The answer to this hunger is also, and then after doing all of this, you just take the nama, that is japa. So tapa and japa, both you will do staying in the same house, in poverty. You need not go to the ashram, you need not go to the banks of the river. You need not solve any other thing. Whatever is your duty towards your parents, do that duty, and while doing that, do the tapa or tapas of all these 5 vows. Take these 5 vows. Finish that tapa. And while doing the tapa, do your japa. And you meet the God here in this house. So he sits up because, the old people, somehow they know. They have a solution, answer to everything from life experience. He sits up. And he says, yes. Now, some first time I feel that the spiritual hunger is satiated, I am hungry. So then starts living the normal life with parents. Struggles, a family full of poverty, is working. But while working, what is doing? Tapa and japa. So this is what is meant. When you feel like you want to do things in the world, do them without being attached to them. Do them for someone. Don't do it for yours. Find a person worthy enough you would want to do it for. Make it your parents, because first you have some rid towards them. They helped you exhaust your currency. If not parent, a sibling. If you don't want it to do it for one person, do it for Guru. If not for Guru, do it for Srishti, the nature. Do it for everyone. None of this. But keep reminding, I'm doing this for someone. Whatever I'm doing, it's not for me. That's the best way. I'm sure most of you must have heard this story. Yes. If you're free on Sundays, I'll have to check the winter time. If you're in Rishikesh next time, you must join me, or I'll share the address even if I'm not there. Go and simply sit in the satsang. There are so many scriptures I have myself studied and so many things done. If I ever write a blog, in remotest of the corners, and which religion, I don't know. I'm just there because I want to know the self. What is this person talking about self? Is this different than Yoga Sutra? Have I missed on to something? And the benefit of that is I'm able to bring on. Namaste. Hari Om. We will close for today. Bring your palms together. At the heart center, we will chant the mantra Purnamad. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamaya Purnameva Jyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Bow your head down. See, blessings of Sage Patanjali Thank all your gurus, your teachers. Thank yourself for choosing the path of Shreyasa, of moksha. When you're ready, gently lift your head up. Open your eyes. Look down first towards the floor. External eyes. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you so much. We
Thank
meet
you.
again tomorrow.